the season, and if Game 1 is going to tell us the whole story, which is unlikely, then seems like SKT are running into a Samsung team that looks very, very polished on patch 7.10. I was thinking about the bans for Samsung on red side. It feels like Zac and the Kennen are must bans on red side against teams that can play them. So that may mean that these will be the 3 bans. It felt like they could only ban one of Lee Sin or Twitch, because leaving up one of those picks is massive. And well, I think SKT are going to play Samsung are going to play a dangerous game here, because will they opt into banning one of them, SKT, or will they be happy to trade them? Because the power level of Zac on this patch especially is titanic.
Yeah. The massive percentage damage that he gets off the Q is just pretty insufferable, but so far,
but look at SKT. This is them saying that they are not practiced on Zac, because otherwise you'd think they'd be happy to take that at first pick. Samsung can just ban away Kennen if they so choose in this scenario.
Maybe if they had Blank in the game, go for the Zac.
That's true. He is the Zac master.
So, unfortunately for them, he's not on the Rift at the moment. No swaps from either side. Everybody's sticking with these rosters.
And now you wonder, will they spend the next games training the Zac and getting ready to play it? Because you never, as SKT, want to be banning a must-ban red side champion on blue. They already showed with the LeBlanc banning in the regular stage of MSI that they can always adapt when it gets to the next stage.
Well, this has made it through.
But it's something different from SKT, because in this matchup, they were blind picking the Rumble and being happy to go into the Galio matchup. This is them blind picking the Galio with Rumble available, and I think that's mostly because they don't necessarily respect the value of Rumble coming out of Cuvée, who's only played it once in competitive, doesn't have a great win rate on it in solo queue, and is another one of these players that's kind of been forced to pick up Rumble than rather really being a master himself. He's actually said in interviews, look, Rumble's not a pick for me, but I can play well against it. Looks like Rumble may not be a factor here, and that's just kind of a unique quirk of a draft against Samsung.
Well, so far, Samsung sticking to their guns here with the Zyra Varus bot lane.
Well, JJ 14-2 on Zyra this year.
It's been a really big pick for him. Saw a lot of bans, back during spring of that Zyra when she was very oppressive, especially against core JJ. But now he gets his hands on it. See what's going to happen here for the side of SKT. Likely locking down that bot lane with the Karma coming through here, likely for Wolf.
Faker could flex it into the mid lane, so we won't draw full conclusions, but as you say, percentages are likely that it's a bot lane pick.
Do they want to just do this again here?
I mean, you look at what's locked in, and if you get ahead, it's very good against Varus and Zyra. You can run in as the Olaf and work against them, just like when you pick Olaf into Ashe. So you understand the theory here. And SKT have always been confident to run things a second time.
Okay.
And Samsung will take the blind pick of the Syndra at this stage in the draft. Last pick on the first round in red side, because they can double ban lane counters. Fizz, the understandable first ban. I've got to say, Faker's been playing a lot of Cassin. Very, very risky into the Syndra, but also a possibility.
Well, do we see that banned as the second one here? Fizz starts things off.
I don't think you
from
do.
SKT.
I think you play it with fire here. Are SKT actually practice enough to run the Cassidon in competitive play? They go for the Faker choice. When Faker has laned against Syndra many times, it has been the choice of the Ahri, rather than necessarily banning away the Cassidon. Again, we may not see Cassidon for a while, but a lot of teams are preparing this pick. So there is a chance we see it before too long, but taking Syndra and double banning is something you can do when you blind pick a mid lane as the last pick in the first round on red side.
And there's the Kled.
Yeah, respect Kled ban.
How's a Kled into Galio?
Not as good as the Fiora, which is available. So will Cuvée return to that or go for a tank matchup? Cuvée looks like he's not going to put his carry pants on this time. Although it could be a jungle Gragas that was an ambition favorite.
Yeah, could just be that, and then maybe we see the Fiora as the final pick. Because, I mean, there is that ambiguity that the Galio could end up in the mid lane.
Or, I guess support even with the Karma. So, a lot of flex options available for SKT. Could definitely draft Rumble here if they really wanted to.
Seems like Ashe going to be the ADC of choice here for Bang.
Good old double flex from SKT, and Samsung waiting for information.
All right, does this throw a wrench into everything here for Samsung, or is everything predictable? We talked about it. There we go. So the Rumble comes through.
Very interesting. So could be a mid lane Galio to try and deal with the Syndra. Obviously going to take a lot of pain early, but can itemize into a litany of the new tank magic resist items. Or could it indeed be a support Galio, which is a possibility. We saw it at MSI as well.
Oh,
there's
a
return of a favorite from Cuvée. I was wondering if he would go back to this pick, but we do actually see finally the return of the Camille, which has been heavily nerfed through a lot of patches, but not in the recent two, so her power level hasn't adjusted. Doesn't heal off the W onto minions. That was the last nerf that took away a lot of her swing matchups and actually made them very tough for the Camille. But this is definitely a sustained matchup. Get through the early laning phase, get the Trinity Force, and kill the Rumble is certainly a possibility here. It's not quite the Fiora, but Fiora into Rumble is a much more risky proposition. So there could be a great degree of play around top lane from both teams, because this is certainly a snowball matchup.
All right, well, interesting drafts here on both sides. That massive flex coming through for SKT, but Huni will be returning into the top lane with that Rumble. And we've already seen how much damage he can do with that.
It's not quite undefeated, but 13-1, only one game dropped in MSI. So undefeated in LCK play is Rumble from Huni. Needs no introduction. He's right up there with Marin and Smeb as one of the best in the world. Faker on the Galio this time. Something a bit different from him. Itemization will be interesting. Will it be
full AP?
Wow, that seems the most unlikely, but a possibility there. Could be the Adaptive Helm, could be Abyssal Scepter, a lot of options in the mid lane for Faker. Could even be full tank with Spirit Visage, like we saw earlier. Core JJ and Ruler sticking with what's working, and if Samsung can do that, they'll come out convincing winners.
All right, well, let's see what happens here. Let's see if Samsung going to close this out, or if we'll be taken to 3 games here as we load onto Summoner's Rift. SKT fans still holding on, showing their support despite that first game loss.
And I'd like you to show your support, please, Achilles, because maybe there is a new prophet in the LCK broadcast. And no, not the other one. We're at 16 Doran Shields.
Oh, well, all right, now you just have to hope that there's a
Please
2-0.
no more. Calm down.
You need a 2-0.
We need it. Please. I need to be the prophet. Doran Shield is a really interesting proposition in the top lane, because if you remember, Rumble was always a big user of Doran Shield before Ruby Crystal Start became a thing. And then now, it's actually one of the best items into a Rumble, because every tick of the Flame Spitter reapplies the Doran Shield passive. So, kind of understandable that both sides are opting into it. And Bang is a non-believer of Doran Shield, because even on Ashe, he's going Doran's Blade.
Well, you should be that's pretty great. You should be thankful for that one, because if he was, he'd be upsetting your 16 count right there.
Me and Bang, we're tight.
It's all right.
We're real tight.
It's all right. I think you can take sole possession of the Prophet because Crumbs is a magician now.
Who's Crumbs? What are you talking
about? He's watching at home, and he's gonna be shaking his head. But here we go. Invade coming through from SKT. Cuvée wrapping around from the top side, but Faker tossing out Twin Gus here. Cuvée going to have to take that E, jumps over with a hook shot. So going to be a bit of a rough start for the side of that Camille. This red buff starts getting taken away. Ambition all on its lonesome. They say screw the red buff. We're just going to go ahead and turn straight into you. Getting burned away at. Might have to use the flash here. Can he get out of here in time? The answer's going to be yes as the red starts to get the reset through. Mission still has the smite.
What a jerk.
He's getting gate kept here by this Flame Spitter.
It's almost released. That's why he did it. Smart from Ambition. He noticed the patience was really low. Now he's walking up again.
The wraparound's coming through here from Cuvée. He's flashing over the wall now.
To a blasting plant.
Could come back through.
This is the most action you could ever hope over.
Yeah, I know. Jumping in. Peanut going low. Doesn't have the flash. And over the wall. It's going to be first blood going over the crowd. Now Huni flashing away. Cuvée doesn't quite have the timing down on the hook shot.
Still 5 seconds.
5 seconds, yeah. I mean, he could chase this one out and still get some damage down, but the kill pressure is just not going to be there without at least the level 2. But first blood over to Crown. Certainly not the way that SKT wanted things to go, and Peanut is going to be set very far back in his jungle. But maybe Ambition will as well. Never mind! You know what? I don't even know what's happening anymore. The level 2 comes through. Cuvée flashes in, gets the kill. What is happening?
That red buff is where the source of all the action occurs. Comical level 1. Ambition. The one thing you can say about him is experience, right? That sounds like it's going to be a meme comment, but his understanding that if he stuck around, he could actually releash and force the patience to run out of the Rift Herald frustrated Peanut, and they got the inside track because, of course, Syndra was closer to walking over. There's no flash on the Olaf, and it was actually genius from the side of Samsung.
What a nutty start to this game. Just all over the place. The red buff's got to be feeling pretty proud of itself at the moment.
If you're Peanut, you had your fingers on Alt F4. You were like, well, let's end this scrim. This madness is over.
Yep.
Ambition needs a leash because it's 3 minutes 43.
Level 1 still. There we go.
Got it, yeah.
Finally picks up the blue buff.
Well, this could be a real tough time for Hooney.
I mean, he's got that big flame spitter, straight back quite a bit of damage here. So he's going to be in a decent spot, I guess. Does have the Doran shield as well as the potions here as Hooney gets the shove in. Cube will stop that recall to pick up the CS.
Cube wants to get a big buy. I mentioned Hex Drink is probably the likely purchase, especially because he's snowballing.
Maybe he just goes
man
ham
mode
and goes straight for the Sheen.
Or even more ham and goes straight for the Stinger. Feels good. It's not going to be the Stinger.
All those auto attacks. Those juicy, juicy auto attacks.
It's at 1050, so that is exactly enough for a Sheen if he wanted it, but from the buys, it doesn't look like he went that way.
Oh, Faker showing off the combos you can pull off there with the Galio, chunking Crown down considerably as he just desperately tries to get through that shield.
I really want Faker and Wolf to have great games on Galio so that Hooney's the third best Galio on his team. You know they're having battles about Riven as well and all these other picks. That's what happens when you get a carry top laner. Shares a lot of champion pool with his mid laner.
Still waiting to see the Riven from Faker again. It's been quite some time.
Famous pick, the barcode killer pick that he built up at Season 3 Worlds. People thought, that's just solo queue. It wasn't. Last person to find that out is a new EU LCS import in Nagne in the LCS, not the SK, the LCK Summer 2015 final. As that was the last time. That was the famous sidestep on the Cassiopeia ultimate from Nagne. I don't think his career ever came back from there.
Probably not.
Hey, if they win EU LCS, that'd be a pretty good secondary prize.
See, Rio managed to bounce back from his death.
He did. He went overseas.
He survived.
Well,
he was resurrected, I guess we should say.
No one says he's still dying. Well, this has been a nutty game, as you said.
Yeah. And that wasn't even... Yeah, it's a pun. Whatever.
Oh, no.
Peanut first blooded.
Uh-oh. Never mind. I thought that was an extra Doran shield. Oh. That's way more important than the game result.
I have my tally ready to go, so I'm keeping track. It's going to be the... Oh, okay. Double ring here from Faker.
Just looking for a bit more sustain out of the Corrupting Potion. Just like his longtime, I said rival, but in inverted commas, Kuro is not going for any Doran's rings, which is by far the common pickup in top lane, but worth noting that mana sustain is less relevant in mid lane, because you can get access to blue buff.
Yeah, I can't really call him a rival.
I mean, I'm sure Kuro would like to be called his rival. I did a show, I did a Pieces of Faker interview about this, and I'm like, well, not really a rival.
Kuro considers him a rival in like the anime sense, where he like thinks it's a rivalry, but it's really just.
It's actually Galio ultimate going top.
Oh yeah, the jumping in here. That's going to be the ultimate coming down from Cube. Takes the hook shot out back under the turret. Can they finish him off? So he might be going down in the meantime to the bottom side of the map. That's going to be a kill coming through here as Crown takes out Bang. Peanut falls the top side as well. So in that 1v3 scenario, Cube still comes up with the kill, and now Samsung poised to get this first brick yet again.
Ambition's pretty low here. He's going to take at least a single turret shot.
Oh, Grasping Roots barely going to miss. Turret shots being exchanged from both sides. The flash forward comes through from Ruler, and Ambition picks up the final hit.
Let's wait for the race. It looks like Faker and Hooney's certainly going to have an advantage, but there is 4 members of Samsung hitting the bot lane turret.
They're running out of minions as well, so Hooney and Faker are going to have to peel back out of this one, which should just give that first brick straight over to Samsung.
We're going to see the HP. Well, they're waiting for a minion wave as well. This is a close race.
This is going to be really tight here. As they start pushing back in, Cube desperately trying
Galio
to make it
passive.
back to the turret as best as they can. They get the last couple of hits coming through. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Faker picking it up.
And meanwhile...
Yeah, TP coming in the backside. Hooney still very low, throws down that equalizer, but they just turn straight in onto him. Piercing arrow not going to connect. They managed to take down Ruler, but they exchange him, and that's just going to be a massive TP advantage over to the side of Cube in a matter of about 45 seconds.
An optimistic teleport from Hooney. His equalizer usually on point, but all SKT can feel good about is picking up first brick. Every other advantage goes to Samsung. So we're going to see the replay. Flash for Flash was a start, but it was honestly Crown walking in, exhaust. Well, it doesn't really matter when you're this strong. But what happened in top lane, which actually lost in this clip, is that actually Cuvée dodged the heroic entrance with the untarget ability of the Camille ultimate. So he wasn't knocked up, so he ended up doing extra damage, could actually get in position. Remember, he didn't even have flash the whole time and went 1-for-1 in a 1v3. So still, lots of credit goes over to Cuvée, who was the person who most needed to step up from the last time we saw Samsung. And so far this series has looked good.
Yeah, and he did go straight for the Sheen in the end. So,
I mean, he didn't go straight for the scene of Killers. He literally bought a long sword and a corrupting potion. But now he bought the
I mean, like, as, like, the first item, the first
I just object to
partial
fake news, Achilles.
All right, I see how it is. But
Well,
there's going to be a deep TP
he's got the
here.
ultimate,
Works
and there's
straight
no
down to
turret.
the backside. Cuvée jumps over the wall, locks in on the bank. Peanut nearby, but still level 5. Piercing arrow comes through. Might not even need the ultimatum. Flashes forward just to get that final hit in, and now Peanut in a bad spot. Blast Cone is available. Ambition pops it, kind of knocks himself away. Samsung still on the chase stun, comes through in onto Faker. They leap over the wall. Ultimatum now used to lock him up. The shields come down, but there's just nothing more that he can do. Faker falls. 2 more kills picked up for Samsung.
Really nice teleport. Had the lane ward down and the carcass, or the ruins, I guess you should say, of the bot lane turret that went down. Really good coordination from Samsung. Again, ignore the interview from Crown. This team is very much prepared. They are very much playing with the sort of synergy that was absent in their loss to KT. And also their Rift Herald play in Game 1 lets you know they understand the new patch as well.
Yep. See here, Crown starting to pump out a decent bit of damage. Really early purchase on those Sorcerer's Shoes.
He loves his magic penetration.
Yep, that's going to be the ultimate coming through. Heroic entrance now coming in. The red carpet laid out for him. When he goes low, flash over to the side here as he tries to get away from Peanut. The grassing roots come down, but the Ragnarok is there for Peanut to continue pursuing in.
That's 3 skill shots dodge.
Jukes around everything. They can't get on top of him. Peanut without the ghost cannot push far enough forward fast enough. And Crown makes his way out.
And that was 3 jukes without ghost on the Syndra. That was, you know, if you think of a mid laner good at sidestepping skill shots, you got to say that was a bit Faker-esque in his ability to dodge all those. Bang didn't even shoot out the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Knew he was very unlikely to hit it. And with that roam, the CS lead grows for Cuvée in the top lane. Hasn't taken the top lane turret just yet, but it's getting more and more unmanageable when there's a 1,300 gold lead, more than a Sheen gold lead at 10 minutes in the top lane.
Cuvé's like, my goal is to double your loss rate on Rumble.
It's true.
He's gonna do it.
Everyone's got squad goals. This can lead to even more hype non-storylines, like Samsung being 4-0 over SKT.
Oh yeah, let's just force those out.
Hey, we need every storyline against SKT we can.
It's true. There's not many.
Trust me, anyone who has a League of Legends tournament with SKT in it's looking for a silver lining where SKT might not win.
Dash arrow coming through here. Ruler, just the casual sidestep.
I gotta say,
required.
the MSI hitboxes for Ashe and Orianna not registering in patch 7.10.
Yeah, I think there's some ninja nerfs here being done to just deny SK Telecom as many victories as possible.
Thanks, Riot Games.
There we go. That's the fake storyline we're gonna start pushing.
That's the fake news we can get behind.
Riot Games purposely trying to deny SK Telecom wins.
I mean, would that surprise anyone? They just don't want to make any more SKT skins.
At this point, just have a dedicated team only to work on SKT stuff. Just get the next 20 years, however long they really want to push League of Legends as an esport. Just get that amount of time prepared with SKT skins.
Just get them all in the can. Just produce 5 SKT skins.
Yeah.
Like,
see, the way that you do it is you just ask each player, like, you know, casually, like, oh, we're just doing a fun video. What's your top 20 champions in the game?
but do you say it to every player, or do you say it to only Faker, Bang, and Wolf, and then just deal with the other players?
That's
year
true.
on
You
year?
might have to do that year to year.
Yeah,
But you can get Hoonies taken care of for now.
that's true.
Maybe we'll get SKT Zac.
Speaking of getting Huni taken care of, Cuvé's got a straight-up Trinity Force, so, yeah, you don't want to enter lane against that.
To the Seeker's Arm Guard. Oh, dear. This is bad times.
No, it's real bad times. This is the I'm going to try and equalize a mid time.
I can kill minions.
Yep, he's got that going for
That's
him.
it.
SKT don't really have a lot of control over many things. Hextech Ultimatum and the teleport available for Cuvée. One of Ambition's favorites from the jungle was the Gragas. That's why we saw it as a possibility.
Oh, a straight line flash there from Ruler, but still in a decent spot because that equalizer not on top of him. But Peanut gonna change that up. Now Hero's entrance coming through for Faker, arriving in, but the double stun comes through. Hootie going low, gets taken out by Crown in the end, and now Faker locked up with the Chain of Corruption, has to flash away, gets himself out to the backside of the fight. Will survive for now.
It's 1 for 0 in a 4v5.
And Cuvée has the split push in top lane going with the Trinity Force.
Exactly, Trinity Force wasn't even needed to teleport, didn't even have to channel it and cancel it. Okay, won't get the turret, but still has that Trinity Force available later. That's what an early gold lead means, is they went super aggressive. When you see Galio and Olaf, you know what a team comp wants to do. The Olaf's doing fine in terms of gold, but the team just isn't in position to make these reckless dives this early.
And now that's going to give just a 1-1 TP match here for the side of Samsung. Don't have to worry about the double. Only the Hero's entrance there from Faker. Mooney on the TP. Cuvée trying to get a little bit of work done there onto Wolf. You can imagine he'll just chew right through with relative ease. But it's really just a distraction, just keeping everybody focused on the mid lane as opposed to that Mountain Drake, which was taken by Samsung. And now there's an Infernal on the way.
You'd imagine they will be in great stead to compete. Faker looks like he might be rushing the Abyssal Scepter. That's what the build path kind of follows, with the Null Magic Mantle turned into the Negatron Cloak and also the Spectre's Cowl being completed.
I think it's just sad this isn't the same Galio that he played in the Kespa Cup.
That's true. He was playing AP Galio in the Kespa Cup last year. Kespa Cup story is always of questionable value, but he did play 2 games Galio, so that was pretty cool. Goes on his stats resume.
I'd call it 8.
But then you get into this awkward spot where you're like, the only tournament SKT hasn't won is the one they didn't take seriously at all. Because they've never won the Kespa Cup, Kilias. It will haunt them forever.
It's like that in the NALCS. It's one of the few things that they haven't taken.
That's true. Do you think Faker will win the NALCS in his career? I really do think he will.
That'd be a very big buyout.
There's a very long time left.
It's true. He's still very young. And those mechanics aren't really faltering too much, you'd have to say. Riptail just going for a little bit of a walk here into the river. Being taken here by Samsung. Now trying to get on top of Crown. Flashes away from the taunt. Knows that he'd almost certainly be dead. Ash Arrow yet again not going to connect here from Bang. Riptail has reset.
Crown actually picked up level 11 off a creep dying near him, which could be relevant if we do see a true skirmish around Rift Herald. Would need to be taken in the next 3.5 minutes or so.
A little bit of time for that one to come through.
He's doing his split push job in the bot lane. Getting more and more obnoxiously strong.
Trying to focus down this mid lane, but the wave clear is still going to be strong here from the side of SKT. Getting through that is going to be a bit of a tough ask.
Mooney's a long way away from being team fight ready.
Yeah, launching guys in a Seeker's Arm Guard.
They had to go Ninja Tabi to even hope to enter an extended lane.
Let's see, how much damage can Crown deal to Faker? First, he's got to land some of these skill shots, but
Oh,
here
does
goes
he?
Cuvée here to lock him down. Hextech Ultimatum comes through. Faker pops the Grand Shield, but still will get taken out in the end.
Well, you don't need to hit skill shots if there's nowhere to Faker to go. Hextech Ultimatum did draw a teleport, though, so they're going to want to, at minimum, get the Rift Herald here. Otherwise, they will be trading down in objectives.
I mean, Crown's also sticking in the top lane, so looking like he'll be able to equalize that turret exchange, as one's already been worked down pretty low. So Rift Herald coming through could also just be very much diverted into the mid side of the map to try to open up that final outer turret.
This is the first time we've seen Rift Herald traded for a teleport, so a pretty significant investment here, and it could actually lose 2 turrets in this regard.
Minion waves coming back in here as they keep trying to push forward. Turret does go down the tier 1 on the top side of the map. Now Cuvée coming around the side. It's going to be offering up the wave clear with a tactical sweep.
Didn't catch who picked up the Rift Herald, but I assume it was Ambition.
It is Ambition. It's always the trinket there. It's the replacement, so.
Ambition got done.
Feels bad.
That was definitely the Sideshow Bob stepping on a rake moment. We'll see how it was used. It was very well used in the previous game. That's exactly what he said, Sideshow Bob, you know.
I don't catch the reference.
It's a Simpsons reference.
Okay. Unfortunately, it's one of the few shows that I haven't watched. I was more of a Futurama guy.
Great show also.
So I never got that big into The Simpsons. So I did play the video games back from the early 2000s.
Some great classics. Oh, the 2000s. The earlier ones were a lot better.
I mean, the arcade ones I've also played. But I mean, like Hit and Run. whatever the Crazy Taxi.
Let's not talk about the 2000s games. Now, some of the games on SNES and Genesis were actually pretty good, like not Treehouse of Horror. There was a Virtual Bart one that was pretty good. There's a couple of the early games were pretty good, but by the 2000s they were not wonderful, we'll say.
I enjoyed the ones for the PlayStation. That's just me. And I'm also remembering my nostalgia, but now Ambition going in, gets a casket on the Bang, flashes away, but still just so much follow-up here. He will go down, and Ambition finds the kill.
Don't go back and revisit your nostalgia. Don't visit that bush either, Bang, as we saw Ambition walk through, and they're going to use it once again proactively. Galio's not there yet.
Turret's already taken a couple little chunks here. They will be able to finish this one off. Bang, looking a bit flustered. Ambition feeling pretty good.
Just to let you guys know, in 2 camera shots, that was the Rift Herald doing about 50% of the turret damage. Only get a single turret this time, no serious chunk onto the second one. So I got to say, if we're going to rate our Rift Herald usage, that one wasn't quite as high tier as the one we saw in the previous game.
It's the second one, second best.
It really feels like 2 turrets should be the goal, and you can hold it for a while. Now, there's a question about getting your minion waves in position and whether in the next 3 minutes there'll actually be a good time to use Rift Herald, and they got to pick onto Bang. But again, you mentioned the fact that it was the last outer turret they hadn't broken. Have now broken the mid lane at turret, and it was this position from here that the stranglehold from Samsung in game 1 could certainly be re-established now that they have a very long lanes to try and get picks in.
Well, now things all going to be about this Infernal Drake spawning in 20 seconds here, especially for the side of Samsung. I want to maintain this lead. Don't want to give it a single inch over to SK Telecom. Mission prep is there for the most part. A couple wards deep inside the lower half of the jungle here of SKT. We'll go ahead and start clearing out the river.
No teleport on Cuvée, so that's why he's in the mid lane and not matching Huni in top lane. Is very, very powerful offensively, but if he goes for the wrong ultimatum, he can be taken down very squishy before the Titanic Hydra is completed.
Go ahead, they start this one up. Most of SKT pushing up towards that top side of the map. So will not be here to answer this Infernal Drake for free over to Samsung.
Yeah, no realistic way to compete, so smart of SKT to back away, just like they were backing away from Baron when they lost 2 members in game 1, but it's another advantage layered onto Samsung, who are also 5,000 gold ahead again.
Another Ashe arrow going wide. Bang, just not going to be his day here for this Ashe.
The quest has already been completed, as I noticed a nice burst of movement speed when Core JJ hit the Grasping Roots onto Wolf. So you have to upgrade to the 2nd tier.
Yep.
And Zyra's had plenty of harass come down from the plant, so that's why the quest is already in, but no sign of the evolved Frostfang from Wolf, so maybe delayed on getting the same quest reward. Does feel like the one from the Spell Thief into Frostfang is probably the best of the 3, which is kind of awkward given that it feels like Spell Thief has always been the best of the gold generation support items. Definitely the most gold. SKT have significant problems. Huni cannot enter lane against Cuvée. If he wanted to do that, he would have rushed Azonias and just not really been able to team fight. But that's kind of a losing play, whatever you do, so probably smart to go Leandries and hope for the best. So that's the side of the map they can't enter. It's why you see Huni in the bot lane. That also means that Samsung, if they get control wards around Baron, probably going to be able to protect them for a long time because they're not playing around that side of the map.
So Cuvée fares here against Faker, goes for it. He's going to go ahead and drop the Hextech ultimatum, so he's feeling pretty confident in this exchange. In the meantime, that's going to be the stun coming through. And Faker just using that hero's entrance to get himself out of there safely. See, he was taken down very low in that exchange. Bang, yet again, another Ashe arrow coming down. Does lock up Ruler this time, but he's got the QSS to keep himself safe. Tries to kite back. TP coming in from above. Chain of Corruption comes down, including flashing forward. Feeling a bit frisky down. Faker goes in. Massive taunt, locking up multiple members of Samsung, but they're still kiting back. Peanut going low, gets taken out by the explosive cast from Ambition. And now the rest of SKT have to kite back, try to get out of here safely. Fake comes over the wall, gets a lockdown in on the Faker, taunts him back, mitigating a bit of the damage that could come through from the side of that Camille, but massive engage from Faker, and still it's SKT losing somebody and can't find a single kill.
Well, the awkward thing is all the damage dealers are hurting for gold. No kills on Rumble, no kills on Ashe. Equalizer already used when the QSS was burned from Ruler. So even though it was picture perfect in a different game, you win the game with that sort of an entrance.
Hello,
Speaking of entrances.
Yeah, going ahead, pushing back forward, but might have been biting off a bit more than he can chew. Has to go ahead and flash away to safety. So a bit overzealous there, still, even with the limited damage options as far as items are concerned that SKT have, when you have 3 people hitting you in the face, it still hurts.
Still awkward that you hit the 4-man teleport and there's just nothing behind it. Now the question is, do you make that same play when you know that your team doesn't have any gold? That part's up for debate. No, what's not up for debate is that SKT, no information till now about the Baron.
Yeah, the word comes down. The Baron has already been taken, and it looks like Samsung will be able to exit safely. Vision over the backside of the wall, and the rest of them able to wrap around by themselves, so no chance of a contest there. Great pull on the trigger from Samsung. They come up with a Baron.
Yeah, just really smooth. You know, even though this was right after we just saw Cuvée ulting and getting nothing in the mid lane, they realized that SKT had pulled away. They'd had control over that area. That was the area where Cuvée was pushing around the top side. Free Baron goes over to the side of Samsung. Fortune favors the bold, and bold team at this series has been Samsung.
Yeah, 8,000 gold now in the lead. With no signs of stopping. Second Mountain Drake potentially there for them, so further Barons, further objectives are going to be that much easier for them to go ahead and take down. But for now, Baron buff over onto all 5 members. Let's see what they can get done.
If we could toggle vision here, they've got some wards around Baron and nothing else to SKT. They have to be so defensive. They have to respect the engage and the pick power from multiple members. Cuvée is just stealing away enemy Krugs. And when that enemy is SKT, you know the game has gone very much different than expectations, but once again, we'll say it a couple of times, expectations for SKT when they've just come back from Brazil a week ago, by far had the least amount of time to prep of any team in the world for summer season. Expectations are in a weird spot, so all we can comment on is what's at hand, which is Samsung largely making correct decision after correct decision, which is something to commend regardless of their opponent's level.
Seems like they might want to play here on the Cuvée, but still going to be very safe. They're going to have to land the Ash Arrow, and that's not been something it's been too accurate with this game.
USS on Forest as well.
Stun thrown out just to try to zone them back. Does so effectively, and that's going to be the tier 2 going down in the mid lane. So mapping further opened up here for Samsung. Pretty soon it's going to be these inhibitors yet again, like we saw in game 1.
Vision looking for Galio.
Oh. Around the backside here. Fakered, tossing out the Winds of War, just trying to clear out as much as he can, but now being jumped on by multiple members. Still very tanky. Ash Arrow comes through, locks up Crown. Doesn't quite have the cleanse. It's about to become available now. Redemption coming through to get a little bit more damage. Now dead. Sprinting his way in with the help of Bang, comes up with a kill. Massive Strangledorns pops up there for Core JJ, locking up Bang and Wolf from pushing further forward. But Cuvée, he's already exposed the inhibitor on the bottom side of the map, but he's going to be able to take this out.
Nothing Rumble can do. Only can walk over when respawns are coming in, but for now, no respawns. They don't have vision, so Cuvée has to respect, but really big Zyra ultimate in the back couldn't be profited upon. No way for them to put in damage, and Cuvée didn't have teleport and likely wouldn't have used it, given that he was getting a free inhibitor on the other side. So while it was one of Samsung's few rough plays so far in this particular game, the end result is still Samsung trading up.
Yeah, definitely worth there on the exchange of Crown, just now respawning. This is going to be SKT desperately trying to get another objective here. Should be able to take away this Mountain Drake. No one nearby from Samsung to contest this, and honestly, probably don't give much of a damn at this point. One little lowly Mountain Drake that they hand over. It's 7-2 in turrets. And right now, that might not be enough for SKT to put more on the board.
Yeah, the shopping trip was definitely preferable over trying to contest for a Mountain Drake, where all the Mountain Drake really does is help SKT pick up minions that are being pushed into the base by Samsung Galaxy. When he finally has the Zonias, it's not going to change anything about the side lanes.
Cuvée says hello yet again. Does have that ultimatum ready to go if he wants to cast this one out. There's a couple people ready to back him up out of the jungle, but is really just trying to zone Faker away as much as possible.
Doesn't really do much. I mean, Faker lost 400 HP. Not too significant, really, in the grand scheme of things.
Nearly dead. Yeah, it's just barely scratching the surface there, but Super Creep's getting ready to group up down to the bottom side. Cuvée getting a lot of damage down onto this turret, pops that Hextech ultimatum just to make himself untargetable, but the Ash Arrow still comes through as well as the Tether. That's going to be Ruler wrapping around, throws out the Chain of Corruption, locks down multiple members, but they still haven't really found the damage to pop anybody yet. Sun comes through, Peanut goes low, has to use the Ragnarok to keep himself alive, and a big equalizer chunks out Core JJ considerably.
Yeah, pretty sloppy stuff from Samsung. Juve didn't need to walk into taunt range to get out, and they used their ultimates just to kind of delay a fight. They weren't really ever going to truly engage, so ultimates used suboptimally means that everyone can back away. But SKT do get to heal up and don't lose an objective, which is really all they can hope for.
Q-Face still desperately trying, has that hook shot to take him out to safety. He's pushing forward, lands on one rocket for the slow, and now Wolf is just about here for the tether. They'll be able to lock him down. Q-Face, can he make it out of here alive?
Nice from Wolf.
Gets the stun in the air from Wolf, denying the leap over the wall. Q-Face still goes low, but now Crowd arriving, turns it around on his head, takes out Huni. Unleash power down onto Bang, who's still desperately trying to kite back. Looks like he might be able to stay alive, at least for the moment. TP being burned out here by Faker, a double kill over to Crown, and Peanut goes down. TP has to be canceled out. The Galio not going to be able to offer up anything.
The next level from Wolf looked great, smart to interrupt the hook shot, but just ended up inviting more kills and maybe even the ending of the game.
It's certainly starting to look that way. 20 seconds still out here on Huni as the second inhibitor is about to go down here in the top side. Faker and Bang, the last vestiges of hope of SKT at this moment on this push, and Samsung, they're going in for the victory, focusing out this first turret already, about to go down. The second one, a half HP. Cube doing so much work with the Trinity Force. They pop Bang out of the fountain. They take him down. They lock up Faker with the Hextech ultimatum. Nexus now exposed. Samsung, yet again, about 30 minutes on the clock, will be taking down SK Telecom for the 2-0 victory.
They're trying to mop up some kills. Will they be able to delay it here, though, SKT? The answer to that is certainly going to be no. Peanut trying to make a heroic entrance, but they can't have a real one. Galio's dead, and Peanut is just another kill onto Samsung. 420 blaze it for Samsung Galaxy. They win the game. They win 2-0. SKT have the ready-made excuse. They did come in very late to the picture. It is very unenviable that they have to play 1 week after returning from Brazil with questions about jet lag, with other scenarios. But credit to Samsung, they picked up the victory, they played clean, and they will be a contender for LCK Summer 2017.
That they certainly will. Fantastic play, and Cuve especially on that Camille. Just doing them dirty off the bat.
And he was the one who needed to answer the most questions. Him and Ambition were kind of tertiary figures. Juve just playing Maokai and tanks in a meta that evolved into a lot of top lane carries. Jumped on carries against KT. We know how that went. Jumped on carries here to different degrees, but the Kled was something new. The Camille was something practiced. And in the end, Samsung Galaxy convincing 2-0 winners over SKT.
Yeah, I mean, even with SKT, you know, all of the excuses that we can give them, that was still just beautiful performance by Samsung, everybody playing cohesively.
And we're not belittling them. They deserve those excuses. It is a bit absurd that they're playing 1 week after getting back from Brazil.
I agree.
Schedule working against them in many ways. It's the first game. They will go on to play 18 best of threes in the regular season. No one, no viewer is questioning that SKT will get there. There's too much talent and too many runs on the board for them not to, but no one can also question the fact that Samsung looked great in their own play, even if their opposition was clearly not at 100%.
Yeah, their macro on point.
Yep.
Rotations were absolutely beautiful.
And new champion picks for the person who we had the most questions about.
Yeah, and I mean, the collapse is coming through. Crown off the bat, getting the first blood. It was just really great stuff. Well communicated.
I love the Rift Herald priority too. I feel like I'll talk about Rift Herald more and more as it becomes a more reliable objective. People still feeling it out, but got a lot of value this series.
You know what? More importantly than Samsung getting the 2-0, you are correct. 16 Doran shields throughout the duration of today.
You know what my prize is? I get to cast too many games with broken Doran shield. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be played in almost every game. There's no changes on 7-11, so baby, enjoy the Doran shields because they keep them coming for Papa.
Yeah, if you haven't been using it in your solo queue, you're doing it wrong.
That's
so
true.
Go ahead, pick that up.
How many Doran shields did Bang by? 0. How many games did he win? 0. Correlation?
We found the correlation. That's it. It's simple math, ladies and gentlemen.
You have to laugh.
Doran shields win you games.
It's better to choose to laugh in this scenario. But Samsung will feel good, and we get to talk to Crown, so maybe we'll need to prod Dangun and Cloud Templar to ask a question about that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens during that interview. We'll see who's going to get the MVP here.
I think Ambition deserves it. Not just the storyline of coming back after his wedding, but he played legitimately smart. His understanding about the patience at level 1 to reset the red buff, to allow Camille to come in and just focus down the no-flash Ghost Olaf. that was what won them the level 1, and the level 1 certainly helped out a lot.
Yeah. That was really good stuff by Ambition. So a great showing for him at the start of the season. Not sure how much we'll see of him throughout. You know, Haru's still waiting in the wings. The superstar of Samsung there in spring. But we'll take a look at the damage to start things off yet again. I mean, this time sub 30 minutes for Samsung, so very concise victory. The Crown tops out the charts, 19.8 thousand damage dealt with the Syndra.
Well, we learned that Crown Syndra is still top tier. It was his 2017 pick that he worked on so hard to add to his arsenal. Couldn't be banned away. Other stuff was higher priority. Let's see who picks up that MVP. It will be Ambition. Welcome back, Ambition. We don't know if he's the starter for the day or the starter for the season. Maybe we'll find out during the interview. But Ambition over the course of 2 games. We've got so many Ambition memes about invading and dying and all his other misplays. I don't remember too many misplays from Ambition in this series.
Yeah, really good stuff from the get-go. I mean, he goes so low here off these turret shots,
well,
and this still manages to take down Wolf on the backside.
I like how you found a way to make this a good play. It's like he's so good missing his Q, taking 2 turret shots.
I'm just saying, he knows his limitations here. Knows that he can go back in to help get the kill onto the Karma. So.
Even when the MVP, even when you win the MVP, you can still laugh at some of the
silliness.
Some of the silliness. There was some great play from Ambition as well.
That was also some
This was
silliness.
unfortunate because the arrow hit and then Huni ulted based on the arrow hit. He flashed in a straight line and got punished. And this was where, remember, Camille was just chilling in the top lane while they just got a 1 for 0.
Yeah.
When that happened, SKT probably had the same feeling.
And poor Bang. Flash body slam straight into the gas. I mean, just no reaction time allowed there for Bang. So, well executed overall from all members of Samsung throughout this series. SKT is going to need a little bit more time on the patch, a little bit more practice from their return from MSI.
Oh,
that was
what a flash taunt.
I mean, that was like his 4,000 elo shot.
Exactly. And yet, not like it at all.
But and like in that game, they didn't win it.